Hello, welcome to Lil's Vintage World. This video is going to be the classic books that I read in the month of October 2020. How fast has 2020 got? It's been a very unusual year, but I'm finding the months are just slipping by, and I read quite a few books in the month of October. I've actually only got 3 classic books to share with you because I read a lot of books that feature in like other series, so like British Library Women Writers series, or a new series that you'll see which is Furrowed Mirrorbrow series. I also read like classic crime that goes in their own videos, so yeah, these are the ones that are left over. Let's get straight into it. I'm going to start with the one that I read the furthest time ago, and that is The Group by Mary McCarthy, which is an American classic published in the 1960s. I think it was published in the 1960s. Let's just check. 1963, yes. So it's published in the 1960s, but it's set in the 1930s in New York. It's about this group of women, I think there's about 8 of them, and they've graduated from this Vassar college, which is quite exclusive, and it's about them starting their lives in New York as these young graduates. And so it's about relationships, it's about friendships, it's about sexual liberation, it's about getting married and all those types of different things, and what all these different women are doing in their lives. And I was hoping I was really going to love this because I've heard so many people rave about this. It's probably her most famous work, and so many people have said great things about it. But being honest, I didn't like it. I didn't click with the writing at all. The writing isn't me. I found the writing was rather sluggish and quite slow. I felt like, you know, this book, how long is this book really? It's over 400 pages, 437. You know, this book probably could have been 250 pages if you give it a really good edit. It didn't need to have a lot of the stuff in it that it's got. I wouldn't describe myself as a prude, but I think there is stuff in here that's really didn't need to be in here and felt a bit unnecessary. And the weird thing is, like, Vassar College is like quite exclusive and all this type of thing, so the group's quite cliquey with other people, like they can't be in the social group because they're quite cliquey themselves. And then I felt like they were quite cliquey with like us, the reader, and I didn't like that. So yeah, it's not for me. I wanted to read it recently because I read The Best of Everything by Raina Jaffe, and I really enjoyed that. And that's a similar sort of thing, although from the 1950s, set in the 1950s and published in the 1950s. This just, no, not for me. Sadly, didn't like that one at all. So after that one, I thought, oh, I need to find one to perk me up a bit. So I picked up a Woodhouse. Can you go wrong if you pick up a Woodhouse? I don't think so. So I picked up Leave It to P. Smith, which is the second book in the Blanding series, which I'm slowly working my way through. And we have Lady Constance, who is the sister of Lord Emsworth, who owns Blanding Castle, and her husband comes and asks her for money, and she's like, no. She obviously controls the purse strings. And Lord Emsworth's son and Lady Constance, they kind of come together, this husband and nephew, they come together with this plot to steal Lady Constance's necklace for like insurance money and stuff, but they don't want to do it themselves, and they see an advertisement for this P. Smith who will do anything, and so they employ him to steal the necklace, and it is very funny. I don't think you can go wrong with the Woodhouse. I don't think I've ever read a Woodhouse that hasn't got like 3 stars or up. It's just a good book. It's safe. It's funny. Yeah, it's just you can have a good read if you pick up a Woodhouse. It definitely wasn't my favourite of Woodhouse, but it was good and enjoyable, and I would recommend it. If you want to read Woodhouse though, I still love the Jeeves and Wooster series. I still think that's his best because it's just amazing. And then the other book that I have to share with you, short and sweet these wrap-ups, aren't they? This is Clooney Brown by Margery Sharp, first published in 1944. And this is about a young woman, 20-year-old woman called Cluny, which is short for Clover, which isn't really short, is it? But at the beginning of the book, Cluny works for her uncle who brought her up. Her aunt and uncle kind of raised her, but her aunt has since passed away. And so she works for her uncle. Her uncle's a plumber, and she answers like the telephone calls and makes the bookings and stuff. And on a Sunday, while her uncle is out, someone rings up and says, you know, need a plumber, problem with my sink. And Cluny, long and short of it, ends up going to said house and fixing the sink herself. But then her uncle turns up and is quite rightly furious with her. And lots of people have said to the uncle, she needs to learn her place, because prior to this, she saved enough money and she wanted to have tea at the Ritz, so she went to have tea at the Ritz. And people are like, you can't do that. You know, this book's set in the late 30s, and they're like, in your place in society, you can't do that, Cluny. And she's like, why not? And so people are like, you need to do something with her. And so the uncle decides that he's going to send her off into service so she can learn her place in society. And so off she goes. But does she learn her place in society? Well, can't tell you that. I really enjoyed this book. Margery Sharp's writing was charming, absolutely charming, and I want to read everything by her now because it was just lovely. I smiled all the way throughout reading this. It's just such an easy read. I was laughing away. It was lovely humour, and it's just very sweet. I want to read you a little bit of the book actually. So this is when she goes to fix said person's sink. Now then, what's the trouble? Asked Cluny benevolently, standing over him rather like a young policeman. She was considerably the taller, and the first thing she noticed about Mr. Ames was a small bald patch on the top of his head. For the rest, he was 50ish, plumpish, and had on a canary-coloured pullover which had cost £6, and which Cluny thought made him look like a tiddlywink. I think that's just wonderful. That's just a little small example of the humour in Margery Sharp's work. I really enjoyed it. And there's so many characters in here that I liked and disliked. The only thing about this book was I'm so unsure about the ending. I don't know if that's the ending I would have given Cluny myself, so I don't know how I feel about it, but yes. If you haven't read any Margery Sharp, go and pick up Clooney Brown. It's great. And there we have it. That is my October reading wrap up, short and sweet. And those are the 3 books that I read. Chat to me in the comments, all things bookish. Have you read any of these classic books from the 20th century? Let me know. So that's it for this video. Take care, and I shall see you soon for the next one. Bye for now.